And so when we got pulled over, he was like, shoot, we getting pulled over, baby, we getting pulled over, whatever. And I was like, damn. So we sitting there, get pulled over by the state trooper. Off the meat rack, he gonna tell the trooper. You know, he ain't no sugarcoat nothing. Every time we get put on, he said, I smoked that dope. I just got through smoking one. And the state trooper was like, all right. And he was like, what's the proper cost for you pulling me over? And he's gonna talk about the front license plate. We've been driving this car a year and some change. Ain't never got pulled over but a fucking front license plate. So, I'm gonna ask me questions after I tell you that story. Um, so boom, he tell Rick to step out the car. We got out the car, still talking or whatever. And so then he came back to the car and he was like, can I have everybody's license that's in the car? I was like, for what? I said, we wasn't driving. I have to identify everybody in here because I smell marijuana. And I was like, well, he just told you he the one was smoking. But alright. So, gave him my license. I immediately called my mama. This baby, I ain't playing. I'm calling her ASAP. And I was like, Mama, we got pulled over or whatever, girl. Stay on home with me. So like 5 minutes went by. He ain't came back with my license. 10 minutes came by. He came back saying that he needed to search the truck. And I'm like, all right, cool. I ain't doing no tripping. So we got out. I had my blanket wrapped around me. The other state trooper pulled up. He was like standing in front of the car, ladies, or whatever. Y'all, I had hired this girl to be my assistant. But I had cut her off like in 23, the end of 2023. Right? When you cut people off, you gotta let them stay cut the fuck off. But anyway, back to the story. The second state trooper, he was like, which of one of y'all is Hallie? I looked, I was like, me. And he was like, he was like, you been in trouble before in Smith County? I was like, yeah, I'm out on pretrial. I said, but it's getting dismissed pretty soon or whatever. He was like, well, you got a warrant for a failure to appear. I said, what? I said, I seen it. I said, she hadn't even called me to come see her like that. And he was like, well, you doing? I was all right. I said, well, is a bun on it? I said, I can pop my bun right now. Or whatever. And he was like, let me look and see. He looked and see, and he was like, it's 400,000. I said, damn. That just gonna keep up in my mind like that. So, I was like, all right, let me go on the phone with Bell's Bun or whatever. My mama called one, and it was like, okay, they can do it or whatever. And I was like, all right. Then he came back and was like, you have a U.S. Marshal warrant as well. I said, what? Oh, hell no. I was like, what the fuck? So, y'all, I'm just standing there discombobulated as fuck. Cause I'm like, ain't no way, bro. So I'm trying to call my VO. She ain't answering. Alright. So I go over there, walk to him. And he was like, what going on, babe? And I was like, I got a warrant. And he was like, he was like, for what? I said, a failure to appear or whatever. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. I said Smith County. And he was like, bro. And I said, but it's something else too. And I walked up to him. I was like, I got a U.S. Marshal warrant. And he was like, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, nah, man, I ain't playing. I was like, I ain't getting out this time like that. And I was like, fuck. So shit, they processed us in. And that morning we ended up going to court. That actually gave me a bond on my U.S. Marshal warrant. But I also had a detainer or whatever. So by me having that detainer, I couldn't I could have bonded out, but it would have been pointless bonding out on the U.S. Marshal thing. But he made my bonds for Rusk County. The next morning, because the marshals had called, y'all. As soon as I made it to the jail, the marshals called, was like, we're coming to get her. Whatever. So the next morning, when they called my name, I'm like, oh shit, yes, the marshals are here to get me. Wrong. It was the Smith County funky asses. I was so motherfucking mad. Because I was like, bruh, I did not want to go to Smith County. Y'all, stop out here in the chat. Like, are y'all serious right now? Y'all ask me what happened. Now y'all arguing in the chat. Make it make sense. But, so we did that or whatever. Smith County came and picked me up. It was like 45 minutes from Rusk County. Get there, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, like Smith County, they love us there. Like the guards and all. It was just chatter or whatever, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. When I got in there and they housed me the first time, y'all, why they put me in a turtle suit? Y'all, why the fuck they put me in the turtle suit, y'all?